Okay, so yesterday, there's 3 methods for solving systems. The first one we did was what? First method is, what did we do in 7.1? The very first one. Graphing. So first method was graphing. Second method was substitution. And then the third method we're going to learn today is called elimination. And I love this method. It's my favorite one. Okay, but we do need to write down the steps first. Step 1, we first need to line up 2 equations. So we're going to line up the 2 equations so that the x's are on top of each other and the y's are on top of each other. So we're going to line everything up. And then the most important part of the elimination method probably is step 2. So I'm going to underbox it. Okay, most important part. Make sure that one of the variables in both equations, so you either need to pick x's or y's, differ only in sign. So we want one to be positive and we want one to be negative. The coefficient needs to be the same. So if you have a 2x in one equation, the second better be a negative 2x. Okay? So we're going to need to make sure that the signs are different, and but the coefficients are the same. Okay? Step 3, we are going to add both equations straight down, and that's going to eliminate one of the variables. So you're going to add the 2 equations together, which will eliminate one of the variables. Okay, which will mean that we can solve for whatever variable is left. So we're going to take that answer and plug it in to one of the original equations and solve for the remaining variable. And then just like substitution and graphing, we are going to write our answer as an ordered pair. So let's do example 1 and practice this. So example 1, first thing we have to do is line up my variables. Are my variables all lined up? Yes. They are. I have x's on top of x's and y's on top of y's. The most important thing about the elimination method is we want both variables on the same side. So substitution, remember, we need to solve for one of them. Elimination, now, if we have both variables on the same side, we want to use the elimination method. Okay, so it should look like this every time. Okay, step 2 was to make sure that one of the variables differs in sign only. Do you guys see which variable it is?
Yeah. Y.
It's the y's. Look at this. I have negative 6y and positive 6y. They are exactly the same except for the sign, because what's going to happen? They're going to cancel out. So step 3, we want to add the equations. So add the 2 equations together, and we're going to add them straight down. So what is 5x plus 3x? 8x. Negative 6y plus 6y. Those are going to cancel. So don't write anything. Equals negative 32 plus 48. Positive 16. Okay, now this is easy to solve for, right? What do I do? Divide by 8, so x equals 2. Put a bubble around it because we are not done yet. That was step 3. Okay, because I have x's and y's, and I only know what x is. So how do I solve for y? We plug it in. So which one do you guys want to plug it in for? The first equation or the second one? The second one? Okay, it does not matter which one you pick, but we know x is 2, so that's going to be 3 times 2 plus 6y equals 48. so let's solve for y. 3 times 2 is? So 6 plus 6y equals 48. Subtract 6 from both sides. So that gives me 6y equals 42. Divide both sides by 6. Y equals 7. Bubble that.
We can use either one, the top one or the bottom.
You can use the top or the bottom, and you would get the same answer. So how do I write my answer?
Let's do the top one and see.
2 comma 7. Okay, so try example 2 by yourself. What variable am I going to eliminate? X's or Y's? X's. Okay, so I know. How did you know I was going to eliminate the X's? Because they're both 7. One is positive and one is negative. So I do what to both equations, Zeke?
Cross them out.
Well, no, I first do what? Add them together, right? Okay. 7x minus 7x is 0. We can cross them out. 2y plus 1y, 3y equals negative 6. Okay, Katerina, what's my next step? Divide both sides by what? By 3, good. So that gives me everybody y equals? Negative 2. Okay. Rex, what do I do next? What? Plug it in. Which one did you plug it into, the top or the bottom? The bottom? Okay, so that's going to be negative 7x plus negative 2 equals negative 16. Plus a negative is what? This is the same as negative 7x minus 2 equals negative 16, right? Okay, so Justin, what's my next step? Yeah, we did the second equation. I have negative 7x minus 2 equals negative 16. What do I do next? Add what? Nope. Alyssa? Add 2 to both sides. So that is negative 7x equals negative 14. Thank you. Divide both sides by negative 7. So x equals positive 2. So, Carlos, how do I write that as an ordered pair? 2 comma negative 2. How many of you plugged negative 2 into the first equation? And you still got positive 2, right? Yep. Does not matter which one you plug it into. All right, example 3. I have a plus s equals 292, and 3a plus s equals 470. Okay, what variable does it look like I want to eliminate here?
3.
A or s?
A.
How many vote A? How many vote S? Okay. We can't right now. S have the same coefficient, right? These are coefficients of 1, right? The number in front. But both of them are positive. I need to make one of them what? Negative. How could I do that? Not divide, we can multiply a negative 1 into the entire equation, both sides. Which one do you guys want to do that to? 1 or 2? First one. So what we're going to do, because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. But if I multiply both sides by negative 1, which means I would be distributing it in all the way, right? So to that side and to the other side of the equal sign, what would that give me? Negative a minus s equals negative 292. So it just made everything negative, right? And it's okay because I did it to both sides of the equation. So they're still balanced. Now can I eliminate the s's? Yeah. So add both equations together. What is 3a minus 1a? 2a. What is 1s minus 1s? You can. They go away, right? 0. Equals 470 minus 292. What'd you get? 178? Okay. And to solve for a? Divide both sides by 2. So a equals? So a equals 89. Am I done? No, I need to plug it back in to solve for s. Which one do you want to plug them back into? First one. Okay, so we can plug it into this one, we can plug it into this one, or we could even plug it into the negative one. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the original first one. Okay, so that's going to be 89 plus s equals 292. So how do I solve for s here? Subtract 89. So that gives me s equals 203. How do I write this as an ordered pair? 89, 203. Okay, so it's the same thing. We just have to multiply one of them by a negative in order to get the two variables opposite. How do you feel about that? Okay, so will you guys try example 4? What variable are you going to eliminate in example 4? The x's or the y's? The y's. Okay. First, let me see. Colton, which variable do I want to eliminate? X's or y's? The y's. Good, because they're both already 11, right? Okay, how am I going to get one of those 11 y's to be negative, Ashley? Multiply negative 1. Which one did you do, the top or the bottom? You did the bottom? That's what I did too. Okay, so if I multiply by negative 1, that makes 5x positive, 11y negative, and 59 negative. Okay? We need to get the 11y to be negative. So we multiply by negative 1 and distribute it in. Because now I have 11y positive and 11y negative. So then they can cancel. Okay, so I add the equations together. So what do I get? 8x plus 5x is? 13x. 11y minus 11y? Cancels. And 20 minus 59? Negative 39. So far, so good? Destiny, what do I do next? I divide by 13. So x equals negative 3. How many got x equals negative 3? Good job. For the next step? Or you multiply the negative in to the top? Yeah, it does not matter which one you do. You will always get the same answer. Okay, so next thing we have to do is solve for what? Y. So, let me see. Kylie, which one did you use? The top or the bottom? The top? Okay, so that's going to be 8 times negative 3 plus 11y equals 20. Brandon.
When are you supposed to know how when to multiply it by?
Okay, we will multiply by negative 1 if we ever have two variables that are exactly the same. So their signs are the same too. But remember in the previous examples, we wanted the signs to be opposite. So we have to multiply one equation by -1 to make them opposite. Okay? Okay, 8 times -3 gives me -24 plus 11y equals 20. Macy, what do I do next?
You add 24.
Good, I add 24 to both sides. So that gives me 11y equals 20 plus 24? 44. Okay. Taylor, what do I do next? Divide by 11, which will give me an answer of 4. So y equals 4. So, Julian, how do I write my answer? -3, +4. Good job. Who got that correct? Okay.
There's 8 examples.
So, example 5. This does not look like we can eliminate anything, correct? Okay, because I have 3x and 4x, -10y, and, oops, plus 40, typo, y. Okay. Alright, we can change one of the equations to make them the same. Does anybody have an idea of what we want to eliminate, x's or y's? Julia? We're going to want to eliminate y's. How come you picked y? Yeah, if we multiply the entire equation by 4, that would give us a -40, right? I picked the y's because both the signs are already opposite. Okay? I could have picked x's too, and the last 2 examples we will do a little bit differently. So, what do I need to multiply by to give me 40? 4. By +4, right? So, distribute that 4 in, and let's rewrite the new equation below the original one. So, that's going to be how many x? 12x. 4 times -10y, -40y, equals -100. Okay, so now I can eliminate the y's easily, right? So let's add both equations together.
I don't get why you distribute by 4.
Alright, 4x plus 12x. 16x. 40y minus 40y? 0, they cancel. Equals -180. 80.
Oh, 80.
Okay, now what?
Divide.
Divide by 16. So x equals?
-6.
-5. 4x plus 12x. Okay, I'm done, right? No. What do I do? Plug it back in. Okay, I could plug it... What? I could plug it into 3x minus 10y. I could plug it into 4x plus 40y. Or I could even plug it into 12x minus 40y. It does not matter. The second one?
The first.
Okay, so 4x, which is -5. So 4 times -5.
Wow, okay.
Plus 40y equals +20. 4 times -5? -20 plus 40y equals 20. And then what do I do?
Add 20.
Add 20 to both sides. So that gives me 40y equals
Y equals 1.
40. Divide both sides by 40.
Y equals 1.
Y equals 1. So what is my answer? -5, comma 1. And you guys are making sure you put them in parentheses, correct? Okay, just checking. Together. Okay, guys, what does it look like we want to eliminate in example 6? X's or Y's? Y's? X, positive X and positive 16X negative 8y, and negative 16y. So which one do you guys want to do? It really doesn't matter. How many vote for x's? How many vote for y's? Okay, it looks like y's have it. Okay, so we need to get this negative 8y to become a what? A positive 16, right? So we multiply by negative 2. So multiply by negative 2 here. Distribute it in. So what's that going to give me? Negative 2x plus 16y equals negative 36. Finish it. When I add the two equations together, what do I get? 16x minus 2x gives me 14x. Y's eliminate equals negative 28. Divide by 14, so x equals negative 2. Okay, x equals negative 2, so which one did you plug it into, first or second? Plugged it into the first, so that gives me negative 2 minus 8y equals positive 18. You should still get the same answer.
Yeah.
Okay, to get the y's by itself, I add 2 to both sides. So that gives me negative 8y equals 20. Divide both sides by negative 8. Y equals, how does this reduce?
Oh my God.
Negative 5 over 2. So you can have a fraction, you just need to simplify it. So, Brandon, how would I write my answer? Negative 2, comma, negative 5 over 2. Good job. Okay, example 7. Everybody look at this one. I have 4x plus 2y equals 14. And 7x minus 3y equals negative 8. Can I eliminate anything? No. We're going to have to multiply both equations. Oh my gosh. Okay. Looking at this, does anybody have a guess of what we want to eliminate, x's or y's? Y's. How come? Because I already have different signs. So what am I going to want my coefficient to be? Good job, 6. So I multiply the top by what? By 3, and I multiply the bottom by 2. Will you guys distribute those in? And then let's rewrite the two new equations right next to the original ones. So when I distribute, that's going to give me 12x plus 6y. Okay, so that gives me 12x plus 6y equals 32. No, 42. Sorry. And when I distribute the 2 in, that gives me 14x minus 6y equals negative 16. Now this looks like what we started with, right? So I add both equations. So how many x's does that give me? 26x. What happens to the y's? They eliminate. Equals 26. So how do I solve for x? Divide both sides by 26. So x equals positive 1. And I'm done, correct? No, I need to plug it back in. Now, we have 4 equations we can choose from. We can plug it into this guy, we can plug it into that guy, we can plug it into that guy, or that guy. It does not matter. 4x? Okay, let's plug it into 4x plus 2y equals 14. So that is going to be 4 times 1 plus 2y equals 14. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2y equals 14. Subtract 4. So that is 2y equals 10. Divide by 2, so y equals 5. Okay, so how do I write this as an answer? 1, 5 in parentheses. I was just about to say that. Looking at example 8 really quick. I have 15x plus 3y equals 9. And 10x plus 7y equals -4. Nothing is opposites, right? I have both positives and both positives. The x's are positive and the y's are positive. So that means we're going to have to multiply one of the equations by a negative number. Do you guys want to eliminate x's or do you want to eliminate y's? How many vote for x? Well, let's think about it. What could we make the x's to be? We could make them 30, or we could make the y's 21. Which one sounds better?
30.
X's? Yeah. Okay, so we need to multiply the top by what? Positive 2? Okay, why don't we do -2 here, which means we multiplied the bottom by positive 3. Could I have multiplied by positive 2 and -3? Yes. Yes. Okay, so there's some options here. Let's do -2, positive 3. So distributing that in, that gives me -30x minus 6y equals -18. Please, please, please do not forget to distribute that number to everything. Okay? Because that's going to give me a -30, right? But when I multiply this by positive 3, that gives me positive 30x. One has to be negative. Okay, plus 21y equals -12. Okay, so I add both equations, and I get -30x plus 30x is 0. -6y plus 21y. Positive 15y equals -30. Divide both sides by positive 15, so I get y equals? Very good, -2. Be careful with your signs, because if you forget a negative, it's going to screw up the whole thing. Okay, what do I do now? Plug it in. Did you use the top or the bottom? Top? Bottom? Bottom. Who used top? Who used bottom? I'm going to go bottom this time. 10x plus 7 times -2 equals -4. So that gives me 10x minus 14 equals -4. I add 14 to both sides. So that gives me 10x equals positive 10. Divide both sides by 10. So x equals positive 1. Okay, so how would I write that as my answer?
1, -2.
1, -2.